Good morning. We are in the last class about Shimshon, and we left last class. We finished last class with an open question. Was Shimshon really such stupid to give the secret of his power to the woman that tried to use it twice against him? Three times. It was 3 times he told her something, and she tried on him. So why would he give her the real secret that the power is in the hair? But maybe we should ask the question: Is the power is really in the hair? I mean, if it was like that, me and Luis, we will be the weakest people on earth, right? Almost the weakest, if it depends on the hair. And I'm not the first one who's asking that. Rabbi Avraham, the son of Rambam, asked the same question. He said, do we see that Nazirim, other people that do the Nazirut vow, are they stronger than other people? Are they superhumanly strong? No. So why would we think that the power is in the hair? And actually, we see in the last time when she cut his hair and he wake up, he doesn't say that. I'm looking for the verse. It's in verse 20. It says, she cried, Shimshon, the Plishtim are upon you. And he awoke from his sleep, thinking he would break loose and shake himself free as he had the other times. So he thought, I'm going to do the same. Didn't he feel that he doesn't have hair? I mean, I'm not talking from experience, but I do think that if you have very, very long hair for a long time, and then you wake up without it, you would notice something.
You cut off all this here. She cut off 7 locks, 7.
Sheva machlefot rosho. So his head was divided to 7 because it was so much, and she cut all of it, all the 7. Maybe there is midrash that say otherwise, I don't know. But what it looks like in the pshat that he had to divide, it's like having 7, how do you say, tzama?
Right?
Braids.
Yeah, when you brace? Braids. So he had so many hair, he had to do 7 braids, and then she cut it, the 7 of it. I mean, I would have noticed, I think you would have noticed the difference. So he doesn't say he didn't notice that he's locks of hair. Here the translation is, she cut the 7 locks of his head. Yeah, I don't know what is 7 locks of his head. Yeah, anyway, and he said he thought he's going to do that. He didn't notice that he doesn't have hair. Maybe he didn't because he was just wake up and didn't notice. But then he said, for he did not know that God has departed from him. The point is not that he doesn't have hair. The point is that Hashem is not with him. Now, again, if we look again from the beginning, it doesn't say in anywhere that the power was in the hair. The power was from Hashem. The real reason he doesn't have power is that Hashem abandoned him, not because he didn't have hair.
Yeah, but wasn't something specific that he was supposed to be another all his life?
Yeah.
It was already from before he was born.
Yeah.
So you take away his nazirut.
So,
the hair.
but who says that the one depends on another? And again, I asked again, what about wine? He didn't tell her, if you bring me wine to drink, I will lose my power.
The idea is to say the
What?
power not from God, instead the power in the air. In this moment, maybe it was.
He said, but I think, again, the Tanakh doesn't say.
The wine, because he's not going to do Avera directly.
Also here, he's not going to do Avera. She's going to cut his hair.
Exactly, but the wine he would have to drink himself.
Why? She can put in his mouth when he's drinking. It's also not allowed when he's sleeping, I mean, or to put in his glass without knowing. There are ways to do the same about the wine. So if it's about being Azir, why would it say that it would? So we explain the difference. We say that the wine is the restrictions of power, while the hair is liberating the power, freeing the power. So that's maybe the difference between the wine is restrictions. The avoiding drinking wine is restrictions that has to limit his power. He has too much power. You must limit it so that not where the power is, where the restrictions of the power are. And here in the hair is setting free the power, maybe. So maybe if you have to choose between wine and hair, you would say that the hair is the one. But I want to see something else. If we are going again back to the 3 times he lied to her, and we saw that all the lies has to do something with the truth. He said if it's going to be 7, the first one in verse 7, it says if I were to be tied with 7 fresh tendons, and we say that the Hebrew say yetarim lachim. Lach is humid. What? Moist. Moist. So we talked about the fire inside him, Shimshon, from the name Shemesh, sun, that you can cool it, right? So if you can cool this power, this fire that are inside myself. And then after that, when he said that he set himself free, what it says that the power was so strong that it was like melting in front of a fire. So as a strand of tow comes apart as the touch of fire. So his power was so strong that it's like a fire touching a strand of tow, which is a very, very weak material, that even when you're getting close with the fire, it's already melt and disappear. When you look on the second time, that wasn't done melacha in them, so it's also remind a little bit of the Nazir that it cannot be done. Cut his hair or is like dedicated to God. And then it's not Avotim Chadashim, new, where it says new ropes which had never been used. And then when he is set himself free, what it says, Shimshon, the Philistines are upon you in verse 12, but he tore them off his arms like a thread. Now it's a little bit harder. A thread can be strong thread or a weak thread, but it's not like fire only getting close to the strand or whatever it was there, right? So he needed a little bit of power. When we look on the third time, yeah, it's a process. Then the third time, he connected her directly to his hair. It says, "Im targi et sheva machlefot roshi," if you weave 7 locks of my head into the web. So now it's a little bit closer to the truth. And then when she woke him up in the 14, he doesn't say anything, any metaphor about how hard or how easy it was to do that. It says, she cried to him, Shimshon, the Philistines are upon you. Awaking from his sleep, he pulled out the peg, the loom, and the web. Was it easy or was it hard? It doesn't say.
Sounds easy.
He can do, but it may be hard. What I'm trying to say is that in the first, it's a matter of metaphor, like a fire burning the strand. The second, he also used a metaphor, like cutting a tree, like cutting a string, a thread. We saw also another metaphor about the power of Shimshon, that he killed the lion, and he tore him apart like a gdi, like a goat, but a little one. Like a kid, yeah, like a kid. Tearing apart a kid is an easy thing to do. I challenge you to try. It's not something easy when you're saying it's like that. So here, again, the metaphor comes a little bit harder. It was a thread. It wasn't like a melting thing. And then the third one doesn't even say it was easy, like just say he did that. So maybe his powers are going a little bit weaker and weaker each time he give up to her. So maybe what I'm trying to think that, again, I will give another answer, but my first answer would be nobody knows that the power in the hair. It's not about power in the hair, it's about God with him or not with him. We saw that in certain cases, suddenly Hashem is with him. When he suddenly takes the cheek of the donkey and kills 10,000 Plishtim. So he has special inspiration. It's not that always he has power. When he has special inspiration, when Hashem is with him, he can use the power of Hashem in order to fight against the Plishtim. But the main point is Hashem with you or without you. And while he was sinking more and more in this relationship with Lila, he lost more and more from his power. In the end, when he told her, again, maybe it was a guess, maybe it was another lie. It was just telling her, no, it's in the hair. But in this time, when he told her more the truth about him, let's see the verse in verse 17. So there, it's not exactly the pshat, the literal meaning of the verse, because there is one word that is hard to explain. I mean, according to this explanation, it's not going well with this word. The word is, and he confided everything to her. So in Hebrew, vayagedla et kol libo. He told her all his heart, meaning that he really meant that. That's what it looks like. Let's leave that for a second. Let's just leave it for a second and see what he told her. He told her that I am no razor has ever touched my head, for I have been a Nazarite to God since I was in my mother's womb. This is truth. This is absolutely truth, right? And that's a thing that he shouldn't have said to her anyway. And then he says, if my hair cut, it's another sentence. Who says that this part is truth? If my hair was cut, my strength would leave me, and I should become weak as an ordinary man.
What's in Hebrew, the words,
What?
I cut my hair or my hair will.
Im gulachti. No, if I cut my hair. If my hair were cut, if someone would cut my hair. Okay, so I'm trying to say, Vayaget la et kol libo, that he tell her everything that was in his heart, maybe refer to the first part. But the second part, maybe it was a guess. And maybe it was a feeling, and maybe it was another lie. That the fact that he was strong wasn't because of the hair, it's because the Hashem was with him, like Rabbi Avraham, the son of Rambam, say. And by telling her what is his power, by giving her the opportunity to go against the halacha that he should keep his hair on, then was a sin. That was a sin. And the punishment was that Hashem was leaving him, not because of the hair. Okay, so that may be one explanation, and that he didn't really think, or no, it's not really the truth that the power is in the hair.
So, I was thinking, wouldn't he become suspicious because she's constantly asking him, he's constantly being tied up.
For
he's
sure.
Constantly the clothes being hung. So the idea that he should tell the truth on that,
Yeah,
he's totally stupid. Or he was drunk or something. I don't know. He's gonna be drunk. That's right.
yeah, it was not. So that's exactly the question that I'm asking. Why, after doing all of that, so we say that the first time he didn't know that they were hiding in the room. He doesn't say anywhere that he did anything to them, that he killed them or do anything to them. It's just they were hiding. He was liberating himself, and that's it. That's what it says. So maybe he thought, yeah, she wants to make me weak, but it's like part of the game between us. It's not really something that is endanger me. And maybe he did again, and to add to this point is to say, and maybe he didn't even believe that the power in the hair, and maybe the power wasn't in the hair. It was because Hashem wasn't with him.
So you mentioned that there was a progression. Each time it got worse and worse, right?
Yeah.
So I have a theory. Anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe as the more he told her things that instead of saying that this is from Hashem, which is the truth,
Mhm.
putting it into these
Explanations.
objects. So Hashem said, okay, you're not placing your trust in me. Okay, I will take away your power.
Yeah, maybe. So again, that's exactly the point. The point is that he is going farther and farther from Hashem. He is living, I would say, sink deeper and deeper in this relationship, which is abandoning his nation, abandoning his destiny and his mission, and going to the other side, to the dark side of his soul, right?
You don't necessarily assume that he doesn't know himself was the real truth. And he may know himself was the truth, but the fact that he wasn't making a kiddush Hashem by telling her that my power comes from Hashem, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
That's what's it.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so this is one explanation. The second explanation is a little bit darker, I would say. And we mentioned several times that several times it's written, at least twice it's written that he preferred die. Right? We said when he was in the Sela Itam, after he hit the 1,000 Plishtim and he was thirsty, and then it says he wanted to die. And then it says when she bothered him, here in our chapter, in verse 16, it says, finally, after she had nagged him, you say? Nagged him and pressed him constantly, he was worried to death. What is worried? Wanting, desiring? Wearied, wearied, W-E-A-R-I-E-D, wearied. What? Tired. Yeah, he was tired until he wants to die. And in the end, we also saw that he actually killed himself. So you have what we call death wish, right? That's you say in English, משאלת מוות, death wish. What does it mean? I think he had a huge internal conflict between his different tendencies, different desires. One is, we have two Shimshon. We have the Shimshon, who is the prophet almost, who is a judge, who is guided by Hashem, that he has divine inspiration, and is a spiritual leader of Am Israel. He's judged in Israel for 20 years, so meaning that he's a spiritual leader of Am Israel. We say like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right? We have this side of Shimshon, which is the most elevated power and the most elevated person. From the other side, we have the dark side of Shimshon, that he see women and he wants to go with a plishtim and he go to prostitutes, women, and is this internal conflict can tear you apart, right? It can break you. It's really hard. Yiftach, yes.
Part of the Shoftim was very talented, but they came from very hard background.
Yes, so try to imagine to live in this soul, in this mindset. It's very hard. It's very hard always to have to fight between these two powers inside yourself, right? In these two strong tendencies. It's come from the same source, from the power of Shimshon. He was born with a lot of power. But it's come out in the real world practically in a very different way, in a way where he get divine inspiration and in a way where he cannot stand against the temptation of going to Gaza in the middle of the night to meet a prostitute. So these two powers can, again, tear you apart. And in some point you say, you know what, I don't want to struggle anymore. I just give up and what's happened would happen. And maybe that was the point. Maybe it was really in the hair. Of course, Hashem with him, but it goes through the hair in some way, and he knows that he's risking himself. He knows that it was danger, but he say, you know what? I give up. I don't need. I cannot deal anymore with this internal conflict. And this is third time that he, like it says, he was wearied to death. He was desiring to finish the situation, ready even to risk himself.
Doesn't it say with the Manoach in the beginning, before he was born, they told the Malach told him, those of you who sorrow.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes. Yeah, it says.
His hair should not be cut. Not right?
Yeah.
It says to the mother, he said to the mother that you should. Yeah, it says.
Yeah.
So what's the question?
So therefore it means that maybe there is something connection to his hair.
Yeah, so of course that he's Nazir and he doesn't have to cut his hair, but who says that the power depends on that?
No, so otherwise
it doesn't say.
The whole thing about Shimshon is that he's going to be something special, and we see that the Malach saying, but it's important that we don't cut his hair. So there's got to be some connection to that.
Not necessarily. I mean, again, that's the pshat. That's the literal meaning.
Why does it have to be a Nazir for it? What's the whole point? Who cares?
Yeah, so the Nazir, we said that Nazir is limiting the power of a person. Usually when we are seeing the Torah generally about Nazir, we talked about that in the beginning. There are two aspects or two opinions, if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it comes to limit powers, like making a vow not to go after your desires or something like that. So again, clearly is the pshat, the literal meaning is clearly connect between the hair and the power. I just want to suggest option that it's not like that. And in the second option that I say, in the second explanation, it is connected. When Shimshon told her that my power is in the hair, he was right. He knew he was right, and he was willing to risk himself. And he knew that it's risky because she already used it against him, and he was willing to risk himself because of that. By the way, Now you ask about what he said in the beginning. The Malach doesn't say Manoach about the hair. He only said him about the wine.
To the,
About the wine. He doesn't say anything about the hair. He told her about the hair.
Oh.
He told her about the hair. He didn't say anything to Manoach. We talked about that. Yeah. The wife said. Yeah, so the Manoach, to Manoach, he did say about the wine, about impurity. He didn't say anything about hair. And he did say it to the wife. Anyway, we talked about that before. Returning to our story. So according to my second explanation, again, so he knew everything. It was truth. The power was in the hair, and he knew that it's risky because she already used it against him. He still was ready to do that because he was tired to death. That's what it says here. He was tired before she bothered him, and also after bothering him. He was tired to death, maybe because of her, but also because of himself. Because these two powers that were fighting inside his mind, his soul.
It could be the first documented case of schizophrenia.
No, I don't think it's schizophrenia. It's just people a person that is schizophrenia when you think you are different people. Shimshon knew who is it. Yeah, but
It's a split personality.
yeah, it's a personality that it's a lot of internal conflicts.
Yeah.
Right, internal tense. Okay, we have to continue now. After seeing that, let's see. So his sad end. It's also a little bit raise some questions. So let's see. So let's see from verse 20. Says she cried, Shimshon, the Plishtim are upon you, and he awoke from his sleep, thinking he would break it loose and shake himself free as he had the other times, for he did not know that God has departed from him. So the Plishtim seized him and gouged out his eyes. We say it's also symbolic because he went after his eyes. Chachamim say he went after his eyes, so they took out, they gouged out. What is gouged? Like taking, yeah. Gouged out his eyes. They brought him down to Gaza, the same place where everything started, and shackled him in bronze fetters, and he became a meal slave in the prison. So a meal slave was a very common work for slaves. It's the hardest work. Usually you give that to donkeys. Yeah, it's to ground the wheat with the big stones that you have to move. It's one of the hardest works they are. And it was to maybe use his power, that something left, because it says in the next verse, talking about the connection with the hair, that after his hair was cut off, it began to grow back. There are a midrashic explanation about Tochen. It's far away from the pshat, like the Radak say, so I won't mention it. But he was there in jail, and maybe one of the problems of victorious people when they are mocking the enemy, the defeated enemy. And that was maybe the mistake of the Plishtim.
So we have to be careful nowadays.
You have to be careful to respect your enemy even when he's down.
Yeah.
Even when it looks like he's
Don't
losing his power.
underestimate your enemy.
Hashem
Yeah,
said,
don't
Hashem
underestimate the
said,
enemy. So after the big victory of the Plishtim, they come to celebrate. So now the lords of the Plishtim gathered to offer a great sacrifice to their god Dagon. This was the name of the god of the Plishtim, Dagon. We will see that also in Sefer Shmuel. And to make merry. They chanted, our God has delivered into our hands our enemy Shimshon. When the people saw him, they sent prices to their God, chanting, our God has delivered into our hands the enemy who devastated our land and who slew so many of us. Slew, you say?
Yeah,
slew so many of us. Yeah.
Killed.
So the celebration going stronger and stronger, happier and happier. In the edge of this, they want to mock again their enemies, the defeated enemy. As the spirit rose, they said, "Call Shimshon here and let him dance for us." Shimshon was fetched from the prison and he danced for them.
Jews don't, I just want to.
He doesn't use the word dance, lirkod, in Hebrew. It says the word letzachek. Letzachek meaning to make laugh or to make laugh or just to make him like a joke. And they put him between the pillars.
Big is there.
here it's not very clear. They say that they put him between the pillars, but then in the next verse it says, and Shimshon said to the boy who was leading him by the land, let go of me and let me feel the pillars that the temple rests upon, that I may lean on them. It's a little bit suspicious. Why do you need
Maybe he was in
exactly?
between, but he wasn't there.
Because
Yeah,
he
so
was
what I
blind,
think,
so he just wanted
yeah,
a place to
but
touch.
it says before that they put him between the pillars. Now, why he has to ask the boy to put in between?
To feel it.
Because he didn't see,
Exactly.
so he wanted to have
Hmm.
direction.
Yeah, okay. So he was already between the pillars. He just said, let me feel them. I don't feel them. But I thought that he was between many pillars. He just wanted the specific one who is the house is upon them.
I doubt they would let him go around like that.
No, when he was dancing around, so he was giving,
the pillars that supported the building.
yeah, because there are pillars that
Yeah,
not
that's
support the
Foundation,
building.
the foundation.
Yeah, one of those pillars specifically.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think. In the beginning, it's just putting between many pillars that may be for decoration of the house. And then he said, you know what? Lead me to those who are stronger. I want to rest a little bit. I want to rest a little bit and lean upon them. So now the temple, here it uses the word temple, but the Hebrew says bait, in the bait of their God, so it's temple, right? Now the temple was full of men and women, and all the lords of the Plishtim, like in Hezbollah, all the lords of Hezbollah were in the same house in the same time, right? So all the lords of the Plishtim were there, and there were some 3,000 men and women on the roof watching Shimshon dance.
Big building.
Yeah.
One of the biggest buildings in Gaza. Yeah.
So it doesn't, how many people were there? It says that on the roof were 3,000 people, and the house itself was full of people, maybe another 2,000. Among the people that were inside the house, there was the lords of the Plishtim, the 5 lords of the Plishtim. So maybe the 3,000 include everyone, when he maybe only those on the roof. It doesn't very clear. What?
Everybody gathered because it was national holiday.
Yeah, but how many people, like you said, how many people came inside the house? Can you say? I'm saying that because we'll see later that I want to add something about this point. How many people were there? So, but we are talking about at least 3,000 people. If this number include everyone, maybe even more, maybe 5, maybe 6,000 people. That was the people that were there in the house looking on Shimshon, watching Shimshon dance.
If I could just say that Jews don't do this.
What?
Don't
Don't
make
mock
sport-
the enemy.
Yeah.
They don't make sport of when they kill the enemy, fine, but they don't make whole sport of it. And that's what was their downfall. That was exactly what
Yeah,
their downfall.
the reason for the fun. Yeah. So then Shimshon called to God, "Ho sovereign God." I don't know what this word sovereign comes from. He say Hashem Elokim, my God, the God, my Lord, yeah, eternal God. What?
Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, please remember me and give me strength just this once, O God, to take revenge of the Plishtim, if only for one of my 2 eyes. So it's not very clear here in the Hebrew. It says, "V'nakman nekam achat mishte enai miplishtim." I want to revenge one from 2 eyes. So you can understand one revenge because of my 2 eyes, and you can understand one a revenge from one of my 2 eyes. What about the other eye? They took off. So it says, Chachamim says that I asked to keep my reward for suffering, for taking my 1 eye for the next world. And in this, I want to enjoy the reward in this world for 1 eye. So 1 eye for the next world, 1 eye for this world. Anyway, he's asking last revenge. My question here, the revenge is for himself or for Am Yisrael?
For Am Yisrael, he was the leader. It's humiliating, to see the leader like that.
But he's speaking about his own eyes. So again, it's with Shimshon, everything is mixed. The national and the personal, right? It's like, but it looks like again that the emphasis is about his power and not about his revenge. Another point here that it's interesting is the power of prayer of Shimshon. The second time Shimshon asked for Hashem, and for help from Hashem, and the second time that Hashem helped him. We see that Shimshon had the power of prayer. When he prayed, Hashem listened. And this is what happened here. he asked for help from Hashem, and then he embraced the two middle pillars that the temple, again here, Amudei HaTavech, middle pillars that the temple rested upon, one with his right arm and one with his left, and leaned against it. Shimshon cried, "Let me die with the Plishtim, Tamut Nafshim Plishtim," and he pulled with all his might. The temple came crashing down on the lords and on all the people in it. Those who were slain by him as he died outnumbered those who had been slain him when he lived. So he killed in this day more than he killed in all his life. So it's impressive achievement for two reasons. First of all, it's many people at once. Second, that all the heads of the Plishtim, all the commanders, all the heads of the Plishtim were in the same place. But the question, did it really change anything? No. The Plishtim, the Plishtim are still stronger than Am Israel.
Yeah.
He just killed 5,000 people, let's say 3,000 people, 5,000 people, 10,000 people.
Yeah, but they found another.
It's nothing. It's nothing, right? It doesn't change the power balance between Am Israel and the Plishtim. Am Israel stayed slave for the Plishtim also after Shimshon passed away. It looks like he didn't achieve anything. So all the noise of the Shimshon, well, we are talking about killing few thousands people.
It didn't give them a little bit of a break, like, I mean.
No.
The action.
There wasn't a moment that Am Israel was freed from the Plishtim because of the action of
But in other words, they didn't have a direct threat.
this. So again, Shimshon is a potential against the reality. The potential was unlimited. We talked about the similarities to being a king, right? To really be the liberator of Am Israel, but he wasn't. I would say that it did achieve a lot. We saw that the mission of the angel in the beginning of the story was V'hu yachel le'oshiat Israel. He will start the delivery, the salvation. He will start it. He won't finish it. We said that the Plishtim were so strong that it should. The mission of Shimshon was to prove to Am Israel that it's possible. We can harm them. We are not helpless against them, right? They have weaknesses, and when Hashem is with us, no, it's about the door. No, it's about the door.
Yes, that's right.
So again, the purpose of Shimshon was a first step in the salvation of the Plishtim. The salvation of the Plishtim will be completed only in the days of David HaMelech, many years later. But it started. It shows them they are human. It shows them that when Hashem with us, we can defeat them. When it's not, we cannot. But when He's with us, we can. And also, this final hit was a moral encouragement. It was a real encouragement to Am Israel to show, we can take them off, all of them together. All the heads, many soldiers, many people. So the spiritual encouragement that they got from that was important. It wasn't the final salvation, and Shimshon couldn't bring to reality all his potential. The potential stayed a little bit less than what he could have been without the darker part of his personality. So just let's read the last verse. It says, his brothers and all his father's household came down and carried him up, buried him in the tomb of his father Manoach. So who buried him? His brothers and his father's household. What about his mother's household? That was from Yehuda. They didn't come. What about the rest of Am Israel? He was a judge of Am Israel for 20 years. What about them? They didn't come. So it wasn't, again, he couldn't be a national level figure. Maybe judge Am Israel. Yeah, we say that Echav, Bet Aviv, maybe it's a tribe, maybe it's a family, but it wasn't Am Israel. About Yeshua, it says that Am Israel buried him. Also about other leaders, but here it's his family. It's again, he couldn't achieve a right to everybody. And then he says also, and maybe I would say also, maybe the Plishtim didn't let them to do more than that. Again, they were under the government of the Plishtim, ruled by the Plishtim. So maybe they couldn't, like I said before, he didn't really free anyone. He just gave the first hits that show you that it's possible, not more than that. And say again, he repeats the same sentence we saw before, almost the same sentence. He had led Israel for 20 years. Why twice? There are several explanations. Chachamim say that he was 20 years a leader, and then after that 20 years, they were afraid of him as he was alive. Because the Plishtim keep afraid from him for 20 more years. But also it's another closure for the story. We saw the first closure when we finished the positive part, and the second closure in this point when it was the real closure. Okay, anyway, this is a story of Shimshon, again, light and darkness together, positive and negative stuff. And from here to the end of the book, we are going to continue the deterioration. We have two last stories were very, very hard stories, and it show you in the end of the book, even though maybe it didn't happen in the end of this time of the Shoftim, the situation of Am Yisrael in this period, this time. Yeah.
See, it's really history is continuing now. We have same situation, different players. We have, instead of the Plishtim, we have the same thing.
The
It's the same thing.
Amalekim.
Yeah.
It's the same thing basically, and what we have to do is